From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, July 23rd, 2017. Silver is trading at $16.49 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,255 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 3.8 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,751. And Howard.com reports this time last week, the Russia sanctions bill was floundering in the House with efforts by the Republican leadership to tack on sanctions against North Korea, complicating matters. On Saturday, House Democrats say a deal has been reached on the matter. Representative Steny Hoyer of Maryland reported that the deal will allow for sweeping sanctions against Russia and will also include sanctions against both North Korea and Iran. Officials express hope that the deal will be finalized before the August recess. The key aspect of the bill is that it will dramatically limit the ability of President Trump to ease sanctions on Russia without congressional permission. The exact scope of the new sanctions aren't clear, and in particular, there's been question about the Senate supporting the North Korea sanctions in their version of the bill. The limits on easing sanctions are something that the Republicans initially sought to impose related to the P5+1 Iran nuclear deal as a way to try to undermine the pact. The Democrats, however, wanted it for Russia, believing President Trump to be conspiring to ease sanctions on them, despite him having made no move to do so in the last 6 months. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Bitcoin Not Bombs. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. UPI reports the Republican-led efforts to overhaul healthcare incurred a potentially significant roadblock when the Senate parliamentarian said several provisions key to winning conservative votes would require 60 votes to pass rather than 51. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell of Kentucky chose to undertake healthcare reform using a process known as reconciliation. The procedural tactic was first introduced as a means for legislators to quickly alter budget-related legislation. In order to help quicken the process, legislation being considered under reconciliation is not subject to filibuster. The caveat is that the legislation must relate strictly to matters affecting the federal budget. Legislation dealing with policy rather than the nation's pocketbook is not eligible to be considered under reconciliation rules. The Senate parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough acts as the referee to determine whether legislation meets the reconciliation requirements. She offered initial guidance that several key parts of the GOP plan were outside of the bounds of reconciliation and would be subject to the 60-vote threshold necessary for ending a filibuster. Specifically, she said GOP plans to cut all federal funding for Planned Parenthood and outlaw government-subsidized health insurance plans that pay for abortion were policy-focused rather than budget-focused and would not be subject to reconciliation. The parliamentarian's ruling could be moot anyway if the Republicans can't muster the 51 votes necessary to begin formal debate on the legislation. With a slim 52-48 majority and all Democrats expected to vote no, Republicans can afford to lose only 2 votes and still proceed, with Vice President Mike Pence breaking a 50-50 tie. As of last week, at least 4 GOP senators had publicly stated their opposition to the bill. For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports St. Louis will install temporary air conditioners in a city jail known as the Workhouse after temperatures in the city topped 100 degrees Fahrenheit, triggering protest outside the lockup, according to local media reports on Saturday. Police used pepper spray to disperse about 150 demonstrators outside the city's medium security institution, protesting the sweltering conditions in which inmates were being held. Karan Ado, a spokesman for the mayor, said in an email on Saturday to provide relief, the city will install temporary AC units starting as early as Monday. St. Louis voters in 2015 rejected a bond measure that would have paid for more air conditioning in the jail and other public work projects. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.